Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the LWN Network. I'm Tammy Nation, usually on every day, Monday through Thursday, with headline hits at noon Eastern Standard Time. But LW and myself are going to be doing a great show tonight, and we hope you'll join in and participate. We have live call-ins that are going to occur, and we want to hear what you guys have to say. We got a lot to talk about with Biden and all the situations that are being exposed about him, from his diagnosis to what President Trump just posted on Truth Social recently this afternoon about him, and the auto pen. The auto pen is turning out to be a big deal. Also, are there going to be tribunals for Obama and others coming? So when you have the president and his administration talking about these things versus just anybody on the internet, you know that they mean business, and there's things that they've discovered and they're finding out about that they're going to share with us, and maybe we're going to finally see people in handcuffs and justice be served. Let's hope so. So let's have a great conversation tonight. Do call in. We will have the number posted on there. Our great mods will also be posting it on the chat and in the chat. So welcome everyone from X, Rumble, and YouTube. And we will be right back. LW will join me right after this.
You can see it in the sky. No use running, if you do, you won't survive. People are sick and people are tired, but inside of me rages a fire. We the people are going to burn this corruption to the ground. Yeah, we the people will fight fire with fire starting now. Going to burn this corruption to the ground. Yeah, we the people will fight fire with fire starting now. Gonna watch them run, gonna watch it burn, gonna watch it all come down. Yeah, we the people are gonna burn this corruption to the ground. With fire starting now. Gonna watch them run, gonna watch it burn, gonna watch it all come down, yeah.
All right. Hello.
Howdy.
Hey, this time it is personal, and shit's going crazy, man. It's Tammy and I talk during the day sometimes, and she has been nonstop sending me stuff for the last couple of days, all this week, just so much out there in the news. She actually complained to me I can't remember if it was this morning or yesterday morning, that so much is going on she can't even keep up with everything that's coming out. It's constantly 24/7. And so, I don't know, maybe we might be looking for somebody to help us here soon, Tammy. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think that would be great because things are changing sometimes minute to minute. Just like when I got off the air yesterday, right after reporting that judges had blocked Trump and his deportation thing with the Alien Enemies Act. Right after I got off the air, all of a sudden the Supreme Court voted, yep, we're going to unblock it and allow him to do that. So it just happens at that fast of a pace. And we do our best, obviously, to keep everybody posted. But boy, we can almost be on 24/7 and have stuff to cover. It's unbelievable out there. But such a time as this, I think we are at the top of the mountain looking down at maybe some people that are going to pay the dues and just cause that they need to for the things they've done to this country and the misbehavior, to put it nicely, that they have been doing the last 4 or more years. Some of them many decades, actually. Pelosi.
Absolutely.
Yep.
We got a lot to cover tonight. We're going to talk about, is Joe Biden even still around? We're going to talk about some of the stuff that Tammy sent me earlier today about, is there a possibility that we might see some new guests at Gitmo? Maybe they're already there. I don't know. And that includes Obama. And we're going to talk a little bit about the Clintons as well. And, we don't want to be Clinton side. So I'm going to say right off the bat, I'm not suicidal. I don't like children. Just want to make sure we're all clear that we talk about the Clintons. You know how people start disappearing, and we're going to talk about that tonight. So a lot of fun, a lot of conversation. Buckle up. I know the producers already put the number up on screen. I know that the mods are dropping the number in chat. So we're going to take call-ins tonight. If you guys want to call in, that'd be great. Would love to hear either a question or comment or what you think is really going on. We got videos that we're going to play tonight. We got some other stuff that we're also going to throw up on screen. So bear with us tonight. We're still working through some of these technical difficulties as we fine-tune this violin. I don't know if I'm going to do any singing. Maybe Tammy will, but it's definitely heating up. And I think it was yesterday in your headline hits. I put the word several times, which is a word that Carlene and I used to always love to use, and that's timber, Tammy.
Mm-hmm. That's how it feels like what is going on at this moment. Like I said in the monologue in the beginning, when the president is putting out things like the video that he put out the other day about the Clintons and all the different people that were unalived and served with them and gave the dates and the conditions to it, suspicious conditions, allegedly. And then he also put out a picture that I talked about with him and Obama in the Oval in front of the fireplace. And he reposted it, is what it is. And it said, all roads lead to Obama. Read truth if you want public military tribunals. So we can go back to the days when everything was conspiracy, and that word, which seems to have gone to the wayside, because now you have the president actually using words that were used back then. Now, of course, conspiracy is still there with some people. Some people have really blown things out of the water and out of proportion. But when our president is talking about a former president saying, if you read truth this, if you want public military tribunals, that kind of gives you pause, doesn't it?
That definitely makes the hair stand up on the back of my neck and go, we talked about these tribunals years ago. Jeff B, he's in chat.
Hey, Jeff.
I'm trying to reach out to him. I want to see if Jeff will come do a show with us tomorrow night, Wednesday night. I know typically he works on Tuesdays, so that's why he's not with us tonight. But we'll see if he can join us maybe for a show tomorrow night. But we were called conspiracy theorists. We were called grifters. We were called all those wonderful, beautiful, colorful names. And it's just crazy how now it seems like this is all heading in a certain direction. And I'm still going to be cautious. Do I believe that this is possible? Man, I tell you what, some of the stuff that's being put out, some of the things that have been said, the videos and stuff, and we're going to show you some videos tonight. Some of them are older videos that we showed a long time ago, but we want to bring them back to show you guys, hey, is there a possibility? And so stay tuned tonight. It's going to be a lot of fun. And Tammy, we're going to take live calls. Why don't we go ahead and share the screen for the very first one? Let's talk about the Clintons tonight and go through this for us, Tammy. And then I would love to take at least 2 callers tonight. Maybe Jeff will call in and tell us, what do you think about this document here and about the Clintons themselves? So go ahead, Tammy.
Well, I think it's pretty interesting because we know there's numerous amounts of people that have been so-called Clinton side, allegedly, that were involved in them. Now, this is a congressional
Careful,
record.
Tammy. Remember, I keep telling you,
said allegedly.
Concrete boots at the bottom of Lake Michigan. I'm just saying, you're treading on dangerous waters when the name Clintons come out of your mouth. So
I know.
If you're listening right now, Hillary, I want to let you know it's all her fault. It's all her fault right below me.
Yes, thank you to the big man supporting me, not. But out there, this document, you guys can look it up. It's from Friday. You can see August 12th, 1994. And it's very wordy. But the point is, as this gets scrolled down, it's talking about the different things in character assassinations of people in the Clintons and what has happened to people around them. And the title is, whatever it is, Bill Clinton likely did it. And it scrolls down and it talks about a few things, but it also gets to a part that talks about the Clinton body part and what's substantial.
Not body
about
part, body count.
Count. I'm
Easy.
sorry.
You're going to the cigar, Tammy. Easy on the cigar, right? Easy on the cigar. It's not body part, it's body count. Glad I'm here to clear that up for you.
There it is. Thank you so much. It was a misspoke word. But anyways, this is from 1994, and it goes on in detail. And
Wait a minute, Tammy. You said 1994. Now, in 1994, nobody was talking about this. Now, we've been talking about it for the last 4 years. 1994. That's a ways ago.
And look at this, the Clinton body count, coincide or the kiss of death, and updated bi-weekly, now contains 34 names of people she believed died suspiciously and who had ties to the Clinton family. Now, this is Linda Thompson. And even though there's no direct evidence, there is assumptions, right? Because when you start going further down, I'm not going to read really any more of this, so you can keep scrolling just so people can see it and be able to look it up. But this is from 1994, and the count was already at 34. And then it starts describing some of these people and how they passed away. Well, now Trump
bring up some names real quick for us, Tammy, and I'll just ask the producer if they can copy that and drop the link there in chat, and then that way everybody can grab the link if you guys want to read through that and see that, and the mods can grab the link out of chat and they can share it over there on X and Rumble as well. So
we'll just start
give
right
us
here.
Give us some of the names, some of the people that maybe our generation would know.
Well, he's scrolling you got to go back where you were because it had some names. Linda Thompson, it ties into some of these names. Yeah, I lost the track of it. But they're talking about different people that were tied to Linda Thompson who reported this. And they all were tied in with one another, okay? And her testimony was very damning because it was so detailed. But the video that Trump posted, basically, because this is so wordy and we're scrolling too fast, I lost track of where I wanted to talk.
Okay.
So,
go ahead.
But we'll go to the next thing.
Go ahead.
What it is go ahead. Trump's video compilation that he posted, he said it's the video that Hillary does not want you to see.
Mm-hmm.
So this video did touch on the passing of John F. Kennedy Jr., the DNC staffer Seth Rich, Clinton White House counsel Vince Foster, and Clinton White House intern Mary Mahoney, and others connected to them. So in July of 1999, Hillary Clinton's Senate rival and frontrunner, we know, was John F. Kennedy Jr. Okay, he passed away in the plane crash. So Mary Mahoney was a Clinton White House intern who could have been a star witness at the Clinton impeachment trials, but she was executed at a DC Starbucks in July of 1997. So she's hanging out in Starbucks, and the next thing you know, she's gone. Then in July of 1993, White House counsel Vince Foster was found dead in an apparent suicide in Fort Mercy Park off the George Washington Parkway in Virginia. James McDougal in 1998 was a key witness for White House prosecutors and financial partners with Bill and Hillary Clinton that led to the Whitewater scandal. Apparently died of cardiac arrest at the federal correction facility in Fort Worth, Texas. Guess what? He had the heart attack just before he was supposed to testify.
Correct.
So these are some of the examples of and why it's suspicious with these people, and the list goes on and on and on.
Oh, it's long. It's long, and some of the situations are so questionable. It's crazy, and I'm going to go ahead and ask anybody who wants to call in 620-317-1776. If you guys want to get on air, we are live tonight. Go ahead and call in. Tell us what you think about the body count. Tell us what you think about Clinton's side. There's so much out there we've talked about for years and years and years, but would love to have some of you guys who love this show and love to call in and help Tammy here put out a little bit of the information. Now, the strangest one for me is 1999. So Kennedy Jr. was going to run for Senate. Mm-hmm. And he was running against Hillary Clinton. And then we had the whole plane accident, and there's speculation on that. There's all kinds of debate. You can say whether it was planned and it was organized and he's still alive. I don't believe that for 1 second. But it is awkward that not only if you believe that he is gone, that all happened, but what's even more awkward is the whole ringing of the bell. And what did the bell say on it, Tammy?
I don't know. Tell me, remind
me. Where
we
go one, where we go one, we go all. Right? So right. I mean, you can play into the conspiracies, right? You can play into, hey, it was all planned out and it was Navy SEALs and they jumped out of the plane and did all this stuff. Is that possible? Sure. I mean, are we watching a movie? Sure, if you want to call it that. But just it's just really odd that happened, along with all the other people that were unalived. And, I saw a really funny, and this was years ago, Tammy, I saw a really funny meme on Facebook, and it was a dead deer on the side of the road, and it had a sign, I shit you not. Somebody had made a sign and plopped it right in front of that deer that said, this deer knew too much about Hillary Clinton.
Isn't that crazy? To me, that's crazy. Like, how much has to happen before it becomes truth? And there's two more that I have that I want to bring up, because one of the most famous ones. All
right, hold on. One more time. 620-317-1776. Jeff, you want to call in and tell us what you think about the Clinton body count? Anyone else? There's the number right there on the screen. Call in. Let us know what you think. Go ahead, Tammy.
Well, is Seth Rich. That is from 2016 of July. He was a staffer shot and killed in D.C. while he was walking home from a bar. It is believed that he was the source of the Hillary Clinton DNC leaked emails published by WikiLeaks. Remember those? Mm-hmm. And there
was a couple of people, I think, that were part of the WikiLeaks that ended up meeting their fate, right? And even the owner and founder of Breitbart ended up passing away, you know? And so there's so much stuff out there that we could dig and dig and dig and dig.
And the timing of it is what's crazy, because obviously people pass away unexpectedly. It doesn't matter your age. We don't know when it's going to be our time to go. But when these people are ready to testify, or there's people that leaked information, because that damaged her 2016 campaign with those leaks, obviously. And then the last one was in August of 2016 was Sean Lucas, who was a Bernie Sanders supporter. He sued the DNC for rigging the primary in favor of Hillary Clinton. He was found dead in his home. So there's... And then you hear stories about the Clintons. I worked with somebody that was a police officer in D.C. that worked under the Clintons. Bad experiences with them, He at one point, I think I told this story before, Hillary was mad at Bill. They were standing in the room, one of the rooms of the White House, and she threw a glass ashtray at his head. It hit one of the police officers. He had to go get stitches for it. He said she was a very, very nasty person. And then Buzz Anderson came out and he just gave a scathing.
Oh, we got a caller. We got a caller, Tammy. We got a caller.
Go ahead.
Let's go ahead and bring them in and see what they have to say. All right. Welcome, caller, LWN Network tonight. What is your name? Where are you from? How you doing?
I am not suicidal.
It's Jeff B. Are you sure you're not suicidal?
Yeah, I'm pretty positive.
Okay. Well, it's good to have you call in tonight, Jeff. So I think I've asked you this question probably at least a half a dozen times, but I got to ask one more time. Did you, I know people that you know worked for the Clinton administration, but did you ever work for, I think I've asked you this before, have you ever worked for the Clinton administration?
Yes.
And what do you think of Hillary?
Well, I can tell you that there isn't one agent that liked her.
There isn't one agent that liked her?
No. So I lived across I stayed across the street at OEOB, which is the old executive office building. And they have the top floors for some of the senior level staffers. Since I worked for Admiral Blair, I stayed there. And so during their, they call it a relaxation break, whatever, these guys would, the guys that smoked, which is kind of funny, with the Secret Service would go out and, the one story was, she was walking from the residence over to the Oval area, and they have, certain devices that'll open up doors, like key cards almost, but they're automatic, and she didn't have hers. And I watched her chew out two agents for damn near 20 minutes because they wouldn't open up the door for her, which they're not allowed to. You have to have that device on you to get access into the White House. And so, yeah, she's not a very pleasant person.
I have a guy that did the ink on my arm in North Dakota who was also Secret Service during the Clinton administration, and he says the same stories. He says nobody liked her, and she was just absolutely rude to everybody and mean and just a vile person. So,
yeah,
and this is way, way, way off topic, but wasn't her code name frickin' Evergreen or something?
Mm-hmm.
And we remember the shows that we used to do about Evergreen.
Yeah, in the ship.
The ship, yep, all that stuff. Okay, so now back on track. Sorry, I went way left field there, but back on track. What do you think about these body counts, Jeff?
There's if you got money and power, you want to get rid of people that more than likely want to expose that money and power. It's all you take. Have you ever seen the chart where it has Hillary in the center and it's like a web graph, and it shows all the people she's connected to, and then all the people that have since passed?
It's a big chart.
It's
a big chart.
I don't have that many people around me that have died.
Yeah, I got 4 screens here in the studio, and I don't think I got enough real estate for how big that chart is.
Right. Yeah, it's crazy.
Tammy, do you have any questions for Jeff?
Well, it's nice to feedback.
Go ahead.
Okay, go ahead. It's incredible because the stories are negative, and Hillary was just speaking somewhere, and she was speaking negatively about children and women and Christians. It was awful.
No, we're here, Jeff.
And she had said at one point a while ago that any Republican woman is almost a disgrace. So it's not just about the people that worked with her that you hear these stories about. It is just her whole attitude and demeanor when she's in the public and she speaks. She's very cold and icy and mean. She doesn't represent a nice, kind, gentle, soft woman. You know, it's a bad representation of a woman. So Jeff B., I would like to know if he has any stories he can tell us about them that maybe
he can't hear you, but I'll re-ask the question. So Tammy wants to know, Jeff, if there's any story that you can share on air about that.
With the Clinton?
Yeah, with the Clintons.
Remember Monica Lewinsky?
Oh, how could I forget?
Well, I believe now there's no concrete proof, and maybe it'll come out, maybe it won't. But the whole Monica Lewinsky thing was set up by both Democrats and Republican leadership, because Bill Clinton was going to do something that would have shaken the foundation. Now, I like Bill Clinton. I think he just married the wrong person. Because when I left the White House, I got a challenge coin from Al Gore and from the president, which is, it's pretty neat to have. But him, I liked her. Yeah, I think they set him up. There's no doubt about that.
They were trying to get rid of him?
Yes, and it failed.
Okay, so there's no proof, but what do you think he was going to...
I think he was going to start doing what we're seeing now.
Really?
Yeah.
And
so they had.
I keep hearing I keep hearing the same type of story. Is there are people that have tried to do this, and guess what happens? They try like hell to take him out. Well, they took out Kennedy. Now you're saying they tried to take out Bill. Look at what they've done to Donald Trump for the last 8 years. This is just crazy.
And I think this time, for as many years as we've been saying, stuff is coming, and it seemed like as months go by and years go by, people are like, hey, you guys are a bunch of lunatics. Well, now everybody's silent about it because it's all starting to come out. And, I can remember a show I did 2.5 years ago when I told people that all of Jim Comey's assets were seized by the U.S. Treasury. I mean, his house in Alexandria, his vacation home, and then his personal home was all seized by Treasury. Now, this was under Biden. So for them to seize, his property, could it be because ill-gotten gains? Absolutely. But we keep going back to this executive order 13848, where it's if you read these executive orders, if you take the time, and you don't have to be a rocket scientist to understand them, they're pretty plain language. Everything that we're seeing is being spelled out, and they're in the executive orders, like right before Trump left the White House. He signed an executive order authorizing Special Operations Command to use synthetic rubber masks. That, and then all of a sudden we see, 50 Shades of Joe Biden. You don't know which one it was. You look at, when he was on the stage or talking with Trump, and he was damn near 2 inches taller than Trump.
Yeah, I remember.
With the skin tear in his neck, with his hand.
We got that video tonight, Jeff. We got the video tonight, so we're gonna play it. If you want to call back, would love to have you call back in after the next segment so we can get your thoughts on it. But let's roll into the next segment, Tammy. Which one are we going to play first, Tammy? You're muted. You're muted.
Let's go to number one, the Biden situation with the doctor, and we'll start going into Biden because it is a whole lot of stuff going on with that.
Okay, and if Jeff wants to call back, he's welcome to call back. Anybody else who wants to call in and give us your thoughts on any of this, 620-317-1776. You're welcome to call in like Jeff did, but would love to get Jeff's thoughts on Joe Biden tonight, as we're going to cover a bunch of stuff on Joe Biden, and then the last part we're going to talk about Obama, and would love to get his thoughts on that too. So go ahead, Tammy.
So this is a doctor talking about. We know that Biden obviously was diagnosed with aggressive cancer, right? So prostate cancer. So this is going to be a quick little clip about a doctor and what he has to say about that diagnosis, and we'll take it from here.
Okay.
Both issues here, the cover-up of the cognitive decline, and I'm having a hard time understanding how they allowed prostate cancer to metastasize when he has doctors around him literally all day long. I was with the president last week in the Middle East. There are so many medical considerations for a president that it is frankly mind-boggling.
Well, Sean, look, this is either medical malpractice or, like you said, this is yet another medical cover-up. I find it absolutely, just like you do, inconceivable that this man has prostate cancer after just leaving the White House. He was at the White House for 4 years. He had access to world-class health care for 4 years, the pinnacle of executive concierge medicine. And there's absolutely no excuse that Dr. O'Connor, his personal physician, and I just want to clarify one thing, the White House medical unit is a fantastic medical unit, and they do everything they're supposed to do. There's one person, that's responsible for his medical care in this regard, which should have been screening him for prostate cancer, and that's Dr. Kevin O'Connor, the appointed physician to the president. That was his job during the Biden administration. That was my job during the Trump administration, and my job during the Obama administration. Go back and look at the medical records. President Bush, when he was in office, got a PSA done and as part of his physical exam. So did President Obama. So did President Trump. There is no reason why President Biden wasn't receiving PSAs and prostate screening exams during his time as in office. Or if he was, it wasn't reflected in the medical record, which means that Dr. O'Connor was lying to the American people again, because we know for a fact that he lied for 4 years about his aggressive cognitive decline. He lied every day that he spoke, and he didn't have the guts to come out and brief the physical and take questions about why he didn't get a prostate exam and why he didn't have these simple screening exams done. So, Sean, there is absolutely, positively no excuse for this. We need answers on this, and I can't explain it. There is no way that he went over a week's period of time from no one knowing he had prostate cancer to suddenly being diagnosed with prostate cancer, getting a biopsy, and then finding out that he had metastasis to his bones. This is ridiculous. He had cancer the entire time he was in the White House, and someone should have picked up on it, and that someone is Dr. Kevin O'Connor. It's shameful, Sean, shameful.
And I'm not a medical doctor, but if this metastasized to the bones, I can't imagine the prognosis is good at stage 4.
No, it's not. I'm not an oncologist. I'm not a urologist, but I've listened to lots of them speak today. I've called and I've talked to several of them, and it's a bad prognosis. I mean, it's about as bad as you can get. It's stage 4. It's Gleason stage 9. It's highly differentiated. It's the most aggressive type of prostate cancer you can get. So we'll see. And I mean, I want to know, Sean, did he actually get diagnosed, years ago, and have they been treating this behind the scenes without us knowing about this? That's a distinct possibility. That would be a crazy statement to make in most cases, but knowing how they covered up his cognitive decline, that doesn't sound crazy to any of us.
All right, Congressman Ronnie Jackson, thank you so much for being with us, joining us now.
So before we get too far ahead and absorb that, let's go ahead and go to the clip from 2022. It's clip number 3. So it's the third clip, and we'll play that. It's real quick. It's Biden from 2022, and then we'll tie those two together and then have a discussion about it. So that's pretty damning evidence right there when you have a former White House physician talking the way that he talked about it. So let's see. That's being pulled up here from 2022.
from North Carolina, South Carolina, North Carolina.
This one here.
And he was
No.
a very conservative guy.
Not that one.
No, it's
Not
the
that
one
one.
before that.
Okay.
It's yes.
With Trump?
Nope, not Trump.
Not
It
Trump
says
either?
it's Biden cancer clip 2022.
Okay, hold on a second.
Yes, Jeff B. That doctor had a lot
The one
to say.
where he's in Massachusetts?
Yes.
Okay, that
And
one
he's
there.
facing
Yep.
the podium.
He's facing the podium. Okay. Yeah, we're going to talk about all this. And again, I asked Jeff to call back in here shortly after we play the rest of these videos and get his take on this too.
Yeah.
And rather than us be able to walk. And guess what? The first frost, you know what was happening? You had to put on your windshield wipers to get literally the oil slick off the window. That's why I and so damn many other people I grew up have cancer. And why can't for the longest time, Delaware had the highest cancer rate in the nation.
Boom.
Because it was a 4-lane highway
And that's
that
all it
was
was.
accessible.
That
Yep.
quick
My
That's
mother
it.
clip.
drove us, and rather than
So
It was
that was him. That was him doing a gaffe. That's what we were told. That was just
Yes.
a gaffe. He made a mistake, but he said right there in that clip, me and so many others that have cancer. That's what he said.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And they said it was a gaffe. Now, here it is all these years later, and they're saying he's the physician, former White House physician, said that he had it for at least a decade. And what was he doing? And you reminded me this of LW.
Yeah, let's go back 10 years. To
Yeah.
everybody listening tonight, thank you for joining us on YouTube, the X, and Rumble. Please hit that like button or that heart. Subscribe if you haven't considered subscribing to this channel. More importantly, share us out. But let's rewind 10 years. 10 years would have been what, Tammy? 2015, right?
Mm-hmm.
2015. When did Trump take office? The first term?
2016.
17.
17.
2017, January 2017.
Oh, yeah.
So if we go back to 2015, what administration would we be in 2015?
Obama.
Okay, who was vice president in that administration?
I don't know. Why don't
Well,
you tell everybody?
let's just say if it was Joe Biden, wouldn't he have access to the same doctors 10 years
There we
ago
go.
like he does today? So they knew about this shit 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
They knew that he was unfit to serve as president of the United States, even before he even put his name in the hat to run for president again, because that was his third time. He failed the first two times because he got called out for plagiarism and being a liar and all other sorts of things. So here we are, fast forward to 2018 and 19, when he was running on the campaign trail. He lied to us. They lied to us. They've been lying to us his whole administration, and shame on them. And now they're backpedaling. They're trying to say they didn't know. They never saw anything. La, 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 la. It's bullshit.
Mm-hmm. And it's a cover up. So that is part of what President Trump and his administration have been investigating and studying. And President Trump put all that stuff out about the Clintons and about Obama. And he had a
Okay,
statement.
we'll get to that. We'll get to
I
that,
know.
Tammy. Easy.
I'm just saying
Easy.
the exposure of all the past that we thought was not true. So Trump did put out a recent statement on Joe, Truth Social today. But before we get to that, we can't forget about, and I reported on this, in late 2023, Joe Biden did spend 2 days with special counsel Robert Hur. It was the Hur investigation and interview regarding the stolen documents, the classified documents he had. But Robert Hur found out that Joe was willfully retained and classified information. However, he decided not to charge him. He said there's evidence Biden retained classified notebooks, knowing he was not allowed to do so. But the Justice Department defended not bringing charges against Biden because he's a sympathetic, well-meaning elderly man with poor memory. So that's in 2023, this interview about classified documents. This audio that was released, it was a 4-minute clip, a special counsel's interview, Robert Hur. But the whole interview is out there. And if you listen to it, It is so sad and horrible because Biden was repeatedly struggling to remember names and dates. He couldn't remember when Trump got elected. He couldn't remember the year that his son Beau died. And it just puts into a lot of questions with his mental capacity, how mainstream media was saying, guess what? We think he was fine. Guess what? And I reported on this as well. These people
Bullshit,
are
Tammy.
coming out.
Bullshit. They said he was as sharp as a tack.
Exactly.
They said that Joe Biden was as sharp as a tack. And remember, Joe Biden called Trump out and said, oh, you want to have a cognitive test? We'll have a cognitive test, but it never happened. Matter of fact, Donald Trump just took a cognitive test last month or the month before. So, it's crazy. They've been covering this up and covering this up and covering this up, and we got other stuff to cover tonight too. So don't go anywhere. We're going to take callers. So if you want to call in now, 620-317-1776, tell us what you think about Joe Biden. And we still got one more video. We got a video to play of Trump. We also have a video to play of Biden. And we're going to ask the question, is Biden even still around? And if he's not, how long has he been gone? Because we got a video to show you guys where it looks like somebody's wearing a latex mask. I've done a lot of research on the masks, and man, I've thought about buying some myself, because they are so realistic that somebody honestly, and they're not cheap. I think some of those very expensive latex masks are somewhere between $1,000 to $3,000, depending on what you want. They're very, very expensive, but they are so realistic, man. I could put one on and I could be Joe Biden tonight. Obviously my voice, but I would look just like Joe Biden. And that's concerning to a lot of Americans. And I even asked somebody I worked with this week who is he's not into conspiracy theories. He's upset because he's been listening to the news for this week about the cancer. He's upset and says these guys will do anything. This is his words, not mine. They will do anything to stay in power. They will lie. They will manipulate and lie to the American people. They are power hungry. They do not want to accept defeat. They do not want to lingerous power. And I straight looked at him in the eye and said, hey, I get that. Do you believe it's possible that if Joe Biden hasn't actually been around, maybe something happened to him in 2021, he's not around? Because Donald Trump has made comments to things like that.
Well, don't forget about the last
Do you think that somebody could actually be playing the part of Joe Biden? And this is a guy who does not believe in conspiracy theories. He does not believe that 9/11 was a setup. Him and I have argued back and forth about 9/11. He said, yeah, I believe that could happen. That is a guy who does not believe in conspiracy theories.
Or buy that. Well, it doesn't make sense. It's so many things don't make sense. Now that we're on the other side of it and President Trump is in there in his administration and the things that are being exposed, even CNN is calling out Biden and his cognitive decline. I know Jake Tapper has a book coming out or whatever, or it is out, and it's about the Bidens. And, they're all of a sudden, they're like, well, how can people cover it? Well, they were some of the very people that were covering it. Some people have come out recently in the last couple of weeks saying, you know what, we didn't work close enough to him to even see it. We are not doctors. We can't diagnose it. BS. All of us have eyes to see. It's if we want to see it or not. And, these governors, one of them was Gretchen Whitmer from Michigan, said, well, I wasn't around him enough. Lady, you know what? It is ridiculous that they will still lie, hide, and try to take cover and stand by what they said when now this stuff is being released about them. Now, this caught like wildfire about Biden, and it's blown up into this big thing of how long did he have it? Why wasn't he diagnosed? Why did he run for the presidency? And everybody seems
Why
to be
did they allow him to? Why did they allow him to? Right? So we've heard Barack Obama say, oh, yes, I would love to have a third term where I can just sit in my basement in my pajamas and have a puppet with an earpiece, which we played video of that many a times on this show, where Joe Biden has an earpiece and he is being told what to say and makes a mistake and says something he's not supposed to say. We've shown that to you guys many times here at LWN Network. And here's my question for the audience tonight, and I want to ask Jeff B. I'm going to ask him to call back in as soon as we get done playing these last two videos. But here's my question. Is it possible that he's been gone and somebody's been playing the part of Joe Biden? Because we're going to talk about the auto pen too. This is such a spider web of shit that is all linked. So let's go ahead and play the last two videos.
Wait, not yet.
Not yet,
because I want to say something. I'm sorry, you're trying to boss me, and it's not
I am
working
trying to
at the
boss you.
moment. I know he's getting fired up. I can tell when he gets fired up. Okay, so let's cover this first before we go to the auto pen because it does tie in.
Okay.
So
Go ahead.
Trump was posting about the auto pen, and we've seen his post about it, and he said, so I'm going to read a little bit of that. And this is from last week.
Yeah, this is actually very good. So listen to what Tammy's about to say.
So it says, whoever had control of the auto pen is looking to be a bigger and bigger scandal by the moment. It's a major part of a real crime that the presidential election of 2020 was rigged and stolen. This is why the Unselect Committee of political thugs who were given full and complete pardon by the person who wielded the now illegally, he put in there, used auto pen, deleted and destroyed all evidence and information from the corrupt and vicious witch hunt against me and many other people whose lives were completely shattered and destroyed by this historically criminal event. That was in part from before. There's another one I'm going to read that just came out, but also I want to let people know, I read that you need at least 5 signatures to use an auto pen. Now, I don't know if you know that for a fact or not, LW, or if Jeff B does, or the
Jeff
audience.
might know.
But I did read that you need 5 signatures, which talks about those are 5 people each time they use a auto pen have a lot of explaining to do. Yet Trump said that they deleted and destroyed a lot of the information and evidence. So this is blowing up to a big deal, and it's all coming together. So this is the post that Trump just posted on Truth Social. And it goes even deeper than just his illness. But the president said Joe Biden was not for open borders. He never talked about open borders where criminals of all kinds, shapes, sizes can flow into our country at will. It wasn't his idea to open the border and almost destroy our country and cost us hundreds of billions of dollars to get criminals out of our country, plus go through the process we are going through now. It was the people that knew he was congenitally impaired and that took over the auto pen. They stole the presidency of the United States and put us in great danger. This is treason at the highest level. They did it to destroy our country. The Joe Biden that everybody knew would never allow drug dealers, gang members, and mentally insane to come into our country totally unchecked, totally unvetted. All anyone has to do is look up his record. Something very severe should happen to those treasonous thugs that wanted to destroy our country, but they couldn't because I came along, make America great again. So that ties into the last 2 videos where we can show, the first one we can show is Biden, the one clip that shows him facing away from the camera, and then we can do the Trump auto pen.
Okay, hold on just a second. Before we play that, I just sent the producer and myself, so producer, just so you know, it's in your email as well. I sent the Truth Social statement that Donald Trump, that Tammy just read. Can we pull that up real quick and put that right there at the very top? Can we put that on screen as well, please, producer? Right there. The link is at the bottom. And the producer's going to drop a copy of this in chat too. Cool. So if you guys want to grab this copy, they're going to put it in chat and you guys can share this out. So this is the statement that Tammy just read. I just want to show it on the screen so everybody can see she's not just making this shit up. This is something that Donald put out May 20th, 2025 at 2:55 p.m. today.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But so this also leads into Gitmo, and it also leads into military tribunals, which we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about Obama and tribunals and another statement that Donald Trump put out this week. So stay tuned tonight, folks. And again, as soon as these two videos are over, I encourage, if Jeff B's still listening and around, to call in again. But here, the producer's trying to pull it up here. Let's give him just a second here. Try to figure this out. I want to show the statement that came from Truth Social from Donald Trump.
And yes, the auto pen may, Mimi, negate all of Biden's EOs and signature validations. I do believe this is the exposure of things and how LW said at the beginning. Okay, there it is. Timber, things are tumbling down and coming down. So there's the statement that you guys can see if you don't have Truth Social yourself. You can see that that's exactly what he said. And that was today.
It was May 20th.
Yes.
It was May 20th at 2:55 today. He put this out. This, to me, is signaling. This is signaling what is about to happen. That's just my own opinion. Would love to hear Jeff B's opinion on this. But this is him signaling that we know you guys done some shady ass shit for the last 4 years, and you're about to pay.
You're gonna pay the piper. You betcha.
Pay the piper.
Yeah, you betcha. So that
was mine earlier today. You're still in my shit. You betcha.
Sorry, you betcha. You betcha. You guessed her, Chester, is what they used to say. So now when you had said previously, does that mean somebody was playing a part of Biden? Now that sounds kind of crazy. However, Trump did say central casting many times over and over again. He
mentioned central casting a few times.
And
I'm not a big believer in that. And everybody knows it. Carlene knows it. Everybody knows it. I am not a big believer in the movie, and I'm not a big believer in all these actors playing all these parts. But I do believe that it is possible that at least one person could be playing a major part. That I do believe. I just don't believe that all 85 or 495 congressmen and women and senators are all played by actors. I don't believe that for a second. But I do believe to hold power and to do the things they did for the last 4 years, that there is some possibilities to certain things. So you want to play the Trump video?
No. We want to play the.
Come on, Tammy.
We want to do the Biden one with it facing away from the podium because of the back of the neck.
We want to show the back of the neck of Biden.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So now we played this video a long time ago. This came out years ago, and we played this for you guys. And of course, Jeff and I played it, and everybody called us a conspiracy theorist and all this other, a grifter and all this stuff. But you got to watch this video because you know what? I'm very, very skeptical. I am Captain Skeptical. And I remember when I first seen this video and Jeff sent it to me and we played it on the show, I was like, holy shit, that absolutely looks like a mask. I mean, I do believe that photos can be manipulated and photoshopped, and after things have been done to me and other people I've seen, I do believe that videos can also be manipulated and photoshopped and things put in and taken out and all that stuff. So it's still hard for me to believe, but yet with everything that Trump's putting out there and everything that's going on in the news this week, now I'm kind of thinking, all right, it's back in. It's back. It's back. So you ready for this, Tammy?
Yes, go ahead.
Let's unleash it. Let's unleash it.
Okay.
North Carolina. And he was a very conservative guy who was
right there.
very, very, not very crazy
right
about
there.
African
right there.
Wait,
look at the wrinkles. That is not normal.
Wait, a close up and a slow down.
Uh-huh. Watch this shit.
Does anybody's skin do that?
No. No.
So,
I want to say the F-bomb right now, but if I do, my mom's going to spank me. She's going to take me to the woodshed.
That's right. That's right.
Hell no. Your skin don't do that shit.
That is so bizarre.
Totally 100% looked like a damn mask to me. And again, I'm very skeptical. Yeah, it could have been photoshopped or something, but I don't know, Tammy. I don't know. Where's Jeff B? You go ahead and call back in, Jeff, if you're still listening. If anyone else that's listening wants to call in, 620-317-1776. Call in and tell me if you think that's a real mask or not. Like, I would love to get some calls in tonight on what do you think about what's going on with Joe Biden? Has he already been gone? Here's the real question that I was going to ask is, and Jeff had said this to me a couple days ago, is this how they get Joe Biden to exit stage left? Like, he's already been gone. Somebody's been an actor. He played his part. He is not useful to what's going on anymore. So now it's time to get rid of him. So here comes the story of cancer and all the other shit. Just a question that I have for everybody. Go ahead, Tammy. Go ahead. Go ahead.
That makes total sense. And when you go back into how he fell up the Air Force One stairs and nobody came to rescue him, the Secret Service. When he fell off his bike.
When he tipped over at the beach and nobody came to his rescue. But that to me, again, we beat that horse and we beat that horse. It's like, if he was the real president, they would have rushed. I mean, if Trump fell up the stairs or anything, they'd come rushing in. Like, it just made me think, like, what's really going on?
What's really going on?
All right, we got Jeff. We got Jeff back.
Okay.
I'm here.
All right, Jeff. Well, what do you think, Jeff?
So, which part do you want me to start with?
Oh, you can say whatever you want, Jeff. You can say whatever you want right now.
So, when you and I first started talking, probably 5 years ago?
Yeah,
6 years ago?
Oh, 4 years ago,
okay.
for sure. Let's not make us that old, Jeff.
Right. I kept saying there's going to be a constitutional crisis.
Correct.
Okay. So, one, let's look at Dr. Jackson. Okay. The media come out 2 days ago and said that the tests that were required for Joe Biden to be diagnosed with this prostate 4 was too expensive.
What?
Yes.
Okay.
There was an article done that the price of it. Now, number one, he goes to Bethesda. It's all military doctors.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the first issue. There is no expense, especially when it comes to president and vice president and speaker of the House. Two, anybody that knew this, including the White House position, the vice president, the speaker of the House, they're all now culpable.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you remember, Donald Trump said, I'm not the one that has to worry about the 25th Amendment. It's going to be you. And everybody thought that they're going to 25th Trump. But then when we got into the second term or the second year of Biden, everybody thought, they're going to pull the magic hat and bring in the Kecklin hyena. Well, something stopped that.
Something did, because I think that was the direction they're going.
Right. And so now you have all of these people that are now going to be implicated in the national security issue of who, what, when, where, and why was making these decisions. Because the military, the Joint Chiefs of Staff, can only accept orders from the Commander-in-Chief. Nobody else. I mean, White House Chief of Staff can say it. Vice President can say it. They can give an order to the military. The military does not take it because it's not coming from the Commander-in-Chief. That's number one. So there is no expense for the president when it comes to medical health. Number two, the auto pen. Everybody keeps thinking it's Obama. Now, when the Hunter Biden laptop, when I told you that an individual I know had looked at it and he was in charge of all the paperwork, all the, whenever you get a piece of evidence like that, everybody has to sign off on who touched it, what they did, yada, yada. And he said, yes, there was a lot of stuff in there that they had to call special victims in because he wasn't prepared to see it. But he also said there was some other stuff in there that was damning. And that's all he said at that time. So I don't think it was Obama, because I think Obama's been read the Riot Act prior to Biden even coming in. I think the auto pen was being used by Hunter Biden and by Jill Biden. And that's why they gave Hunter Biden a pardon for all past and future crimes. Because there's going to have to be, if what we think is going on, there's going to be a constitutional crisis. And the reason I think there's going to be a constitutional crisis is because there's going to be a lot of American people and world leaders that I think a lot of the world leaders already know, and they're in step. But all these videos that you keep showing and other people keep showing, they always said the future proves the past. Mm-hmm. Stuff that is said to have been done in the past. Well, now we're seeing it, and it's going to prove that other stuff has happened. Well, look at, why when Donald Trump picked in his first term, he picked his Treasury Secretary, Steve Mnuchin. Steve Mnuchin was a Hollywood film producer. And I had told you that when he first picked this guy. I remember. I was like, yeah. And if you, and I always have tried to tell people that can't come aboard with it, it seems too Hollywood what you're saying. They only do this kind of stuff in the movies. Quit looking at, when they show a video, quit looking at what they want you to see and look at everything around it. That's how you know that something is going on, because we're going to see all this stuff again. That's the only way they can get most of the American people on board to say, holy crap, we have been duped. And it was an attempted coup of the U.S. government.
Wow, just a lot to unpack there, Jeff. So I asked the question because, and you had told me this, so I'm gonna ask you the question that you asked me the other day. Is this how they get rid of Biden?
Yes, I believe so. Look, you haven't heard anything.
How long do you think Biden's been gone?
I think he's probably been gone 3 years, close to 4.
Now, remember remember a while back the whole Vegas incident with that certain agent that was in 2 places at once? What do you think that was about at this point? Now that this is all coming out, what do you think that was about, Jeff B?
Well, a single individual can't be at 2 places at once. And when they announced that Biden had the whooping cough for the second time, and he was cutting short his Vegas, I think he was at a DNC function, a fundraiser. And the individual, you can go on YouTube and look at the video, it's there. You can see a particular agent that was with Joe Biden, right beside him. And it had live, the whole 9 yards. The news was covering it because it was shocking that he got it again. But then you go to the RNC that night, and Donald Trump's getting ready to make his keynote speech, and lo and behold, that same agent is right behind him. It's impossible. And when I reached out to that group of people, and I sent them the 2 photos, because somebody had told me ahead of time, watch these events, and it may explain something. And I just basically come straight out and ask him, which one were you at? Because a couple people here seen you in Vegas, and then we seen you at the RNC, and a comment was made, well, that can't happen because you can't be at two places at once. And we know he doesn't have a twin brother. So I think that right there is going to be played again and said, hey, you remember when this event happened in Vegas? Well, how can this individual person be there, but then he's with Donald Trump at the same time?
Just so much going on, Jeff. I hope that you stick around and call in one more time, because one of my favorite subjects that you and I have talked about over the years is Gitmo and military tribunals. And so we're going to cover that in the last segment tonight. So stick with us tonight, folks. We got one more video that we want to play of Trump, and then we'll talk about Biden or Obama and tribunals. And I would love to have you call back in, Jeff.
Okay, will do.
All right, sounds good. Well, Tammy,
Wow.
what do you think?
I think that, a lot of stuff is really lining up and making sense now, but maybe when Jeff B calls back, he can give his opinion, because I want to know how long it's going to take before the left starts blaming Trump for the Biden cover-up, because Trump was always the one that does everything.
Yeah,
so let's see if they put that into play. Let's put that into play. But yeah, I think let's play this last clip and then see how broad it is when we talk about the auto pin and his health and what's been exposed and what's been hidden. It's a massive amount of information.
And they were disappointed in getting him because they wanted Bernie Sanders. And then after about 2 weeks, they said, wait a minute, this is a gift. He'll do anything. We're going to use the auto pen. And they used the auto pen and everything. He didn't approve this stuff because when Joe Biden was with it, he would never have approved it. You take a look, he would have never approved open borders. Who signed legislation opening our border? I don't think he knew. I said there's nobody that would want an open border. Nobody. And now I find out that it wasn't him. He auto-penned it. Who was operating the auto pen?
Big deal. And when he said it was a gift that happened with Biden winning,
being sick, he was being sick, and he was incompetent to be president, and that's why he said that's a gift, because now, whether it's Barack Obama in the basement in his pajamas pulling the strings and running the country, or whoever it was a gift because he was a lame duck, and he was just a mouthpiece and a puppet. And remember, we played lots of times videos of him having the earpiece in his ear, where he just couldn't even hardly speak anymore because he was that far gone. They were telling him constantly in his ear what to say. Remember, there's videos of him landing on Marine One at the White House, and he's walking around the White House, and they're ushering him into the White House, and they say, "Don't go that way, Mr. President, come this way." And he starts wandering off the wrong direction, even at the White House. He turns around on the stage and starts trying to shake hands with people that aren't even there. Like, he was so far gone. And for these people out there in lamestream media that say, "Oh, we didn't even notice it. We had no clue. This is all just a shocker to us." Horseshit.
Well, what I've said all along, too, is the person that really seems the most evil is his wife, Jill, because she
Evil
allowed
bitch.
this.
Hell, she was the babysitter.
Yeah.
She was the babysitter when his wife, before Jill, suspiciously passed away. Mm-hmm. I think it was it a car crash? I can't remember, but it was definitely something odd that he lost that wife and then ended up marrying the babysitter.
Mm-hmm. So it's not just, administration, it's his family. How corrupt and sick and twisted does the family have to be? You look at all that Hunter Biden was exposed through him and his laptop and the different things that he did. The female family members in that family, the showers Biden took with some of them, just sickening. It's all just so twisted, and it's horrible. And it is true what Jeff B said. Now we know why President Trump Trump, no matter what he signs, he turns it over, he signs it so we can see that he signed it.
Now,
and I think that
I don't
is
know
so
if it was
important.
the light, but I know that we reported at one time that there were those EOs that Joe Biden was signing, and it looked like to me, not an expert, looked like to me that those pages were completely blank. Now, when you see Trump hold those up, you see writing on there. There are no blank pages there. So now I'm going to ask you this question, Tammy. You're my co-host. What do you think about Jeff B's statement that it was Hunter Biden and Jill Biden? Do you think it was them? Do you think it was somebody else? What's your thoughts on that?
I agree 100%. They had to be heavily involved, and I think it very easily could have been her. Hunter, I don't know. Hunter was a little off and obviously drug-induced and away from the White House a lot of the time, it seemed. But I do believe that there are many people that we will be shocked, maybe not shocked that were involved, maybe Pelosi, you just go on and on. It could be Schumer. I think it's just a lot of people that were around that, like we've talked about, wanting power and not losing power, and will do anything to keep power. And of course, Hunter and Jill had to approve of it because they were around all the time. And I saw Jill, she was on, I think, The View this week or last week. I only saw a clip of it, but she was saying, people are accusing me of hiding Joe. I didn't hide Joe. And she's like mocking and making fun of people like us that said he wasn't with it and she had to help him. She was like the babysitter. She was totally denying all of it, saying, I love my Joe and blah, 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 blah. And I was just appalled by that because I'm like, lady, we are not stupid. I'm so over these people thinking that we are so stupid that we don't believe our own eyes, nor should we. We should only believe what they tell us. So yeah, and I believe that even Obama could have been involved in that as well, LW. I really believe that he's not on the up and up either. He's kind of shady, we've seen. So it all kind of ties in together. It's a big monster with a lot of tentacles, let's just say. It's not one or two people. You have to have a lot of people involved in order for them to get away with this like they did with the presidency.
Well, as we close out this segment, we're going to roll into Gitmo, we're going to roll into Barack Obama, and we're going to roll into military tribunals, which Donald Trump made that statement this week. And if I have to find it real quick on Truth Social, Tammy, that statement, I can email it to the producer real quick and we can pull that up before you start talking about it. But is there anything as we close out the segment about Joe Biden's health, his stuff before we roll into the next segment?
Well, I think it was very telling what President Trump came out and said in the statement today that said the Joe that we all know would not allow open borders. He didn't want that. And he basically stuck up for him. And that's very surprising. So people that say that the president doesn't have a heart, remember, he is a peacemaker. He tries to make peace. He likes to have discussions. He's a businessman. He's not a warmonger man type person. So I think that was very telling right there, that I believe that there's a lot of stuff that has been discovered that we didn't know about. Maybe he didn't know about. You got Kash Patel and Dan Bongino telling us, be patient, justice is coming. That even though Kash Patel was in the administration and he was head of things and part of things, that there's stuff that he found he didn't even know about back then. So there is a lot of transparency and exposure coming. I think it's just gonna keep coming, and we are gonna be, I don't know, really shocked and saddened at how the people abused Biden. You know, we kept thinking, oh, Biden, and not liking him and saying, are you kidding me? But the reality is he's a human being, and these people, the stuff that they did to him was pure evil, and he's not even with it. And who knows if he's still around or not. But, you know, that's pretty shady, too, with the incident that happened in Las Vegas a few years ago that Jeff B brought up and I was going to talk about, where it was an emergency and then pushed under the rug. And then through his whole campaign, he was in the basement, and that became a joke. But in reality, what president can ever have a campaign from their basement and not show up? It's just, and then it's just
and
impossible.
then get elected? Yeah, it's impossible. And Trump's talking about that. He's going to bring it out, and we'll cover that as it unfolds, because there's a lot there behind the election of 2020. I did email the meme that Trump put on Truth Social to myself and to the producer as well. We're going to pull that up. So we're going to shift gears. We're going to talk about Barack Obama. We're going to talk about Gitmo, and we're going to talk about the military tribunals. And as we get through this conversation, I'll ask Jeff to call back in here in just a minute and get his thoughts on this, because we've been talking about Gitmo for a long time. And you were covering just a few months ago, Tammy, you were covering a reporter that was actually reporting from Gitmo, and they've built like 4 or 5 new courthouses. And when we read the statement from Donald Trump about the auto pen, about this is high treason, and all the stuff that's happening, it's only my opinion, but I feel like they're going to have a facility that can contain these people. Gitmo would be a facility like that. Now we're talking about The Rock, Alcatraz as well, you know, and that hasn't come up for a little bit, but we were talking about that too. But here's the statement. Now, this is on Truth Social. This is on Donald Trump, his page on Truth Social. This is something that Donald Trump posted May 17th of this week at 9:38 p.m. in the evening. So, Tammy, I'm going to let you go ahead and kick off here.
Well, I think that it's very interesting. Put the pieces together over the last few months. The president posting something like this is very serious. It's not a joke. It's not a joke. It's not a joke at all. The president has talked about Gitmo. The president, you know, the reporter that you said, I forget her name right now, the short Carolyn or Catherine something, is the one that did a whole series on Gitmo. So we have that.
17th. Jeff just pointed. Jeff just said the 17th.
I know, the 17th.
It was posted on the 17th. There we go. There we go.
You know, I'm trying to stay sane here. I'm trying to be logical. I'm not trying to go down that rabbit hole again. I took a long time to get out of it. But and then the president also has been talking about Alcatraz and putting money into that. So what does that tell you? There we go. Catherine Heritage. Thank you, Jeff B. I just had a brain fart there. But the thing is, so the president is posting this. The president is talking about the auto pen and how people who used it have committed treason. He's talking about Alcatraz and Gitmo. That is all seriousness that you put the pieces together. And what does that tell you? They have everything, just like you told us a long time ago. Remember that? We have everything. And the storm is upon them. And that's what I say. The storm is on them. You've got Chuck Schumer coming out the other day trying to blame President Trump and Doge for their cost reductions for the naval ship that banged into the Brooklyn Bridge. They are grasping at straws. He blamed it on their cutbacks. These people still are not focusing on policy in their future. They're still focused on taking him down, trying to discount the things that he said, the things that he's done. There's not really anything that they're happy about that he's done. And you have to ask yourself, why? Why, when we got midterms and soon, why wouldn't they be pushing out people to the forefront? Why wouldn't they be focusing on winning back the dominance in the House and in Congress? Why wouldn't they want to do that instead of saying, well, it's Trump and Doge's fault for the ship crashing because the systems weren't working because they did cutbacks and there weren't enough people? It's just shameful and pitiful. And I just really believe that things are just going to come out and get exposed. I really do. And I do believe that we are going to see trials. We are going to see cuffs. You've got Kash Patel and Dan Bongino telling us that justice will be served. Still a little shaky on Pam Bondi, because I read somewhere, and I haven't been able to verify it, but like Comey's, I think it is one of his daughters and then his son-in-law or something work in the FBI in different sections. I forget where it was at, but I didn't want to put that out in the news until I was sure. And they're asking, why hasn't Pam Bondi fired them yet? So there's a lot of questions around her yet the president seems to be impressed with what she's doing, but he also puts people in the forefront. So I don't know. I just think that there's a lot coming. I think that July is going to be amazing. June is going to be amazing. And July, he promised us the golden era and the golden age. And I think it's coming.
We got over 60 watching us live on X. Thanks for joining us tonight. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't considered subscribing to this channel, LWN Network. We do live callers. And if you want to call in tonight, the number 620-317-1776. We also have 43 live, 45 live over there in YouTube, and we have almost 60 live on Rumble tonight, Tammy. Quite a few people watching tonight. So thanks for joining us. Hit that like button, heart button, whatever it is. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. More importantly, share us out if you can. That would greatly help us. So, everything that we were told years ago that we put out, we backed off for quite a while and just kind of letting the dust settle and see where this administration is going to pick up where they left off. And it's like in overdrive. It's Donald Trump on steroids. He's taking on everyone, man, and he's not fooling around. This is crazy to see all of this starting to really just come to fruition. And when it comes to Gitmo, Jeff will call back in here in a minute, and he talked to the big chair, and the big chair said that when he went to Gitmo, and I can't remember if it was last year or year before, that there was somebody there that made him shake. And I'll let Jeff tell part of that story when he calls back in. But we've been told that some of these people have already been dealt with. And so I guess here's where I'm at with that.
Okay.
If Joe Biden has been gone for a while, which I believe it's absolutely possible, could other people have already been gone too? But see, I don't want to go too far that way, because then that goes so far down that damn rabbit hole that everybody's an actor and this is all a damn movie. I still have a hard time believing that there's so many people acting, because you and I have conversations all the time. That would be a very hard secret to keep.
Yes.
Somebody's going to blow the whistle on that shit eventually. So I don't believe that everybody's an actor, but I do believe that that Joe Biden definitely, that could have been one. And the auto pen people, I don't think it was Hunter Biden, but there were some people there that definitely were signing some things that they were not qualified to sign. So are they going to all be rounded up and head to Gitmo? Are we going to see military tribunals? Are we going to see, I think we need to go back 150 years ago where they used to have public hangings. I think if you start making examples out of people in the public square, I think that will, in my opinion, would maybe curb some of this corrupt politician bullshit, because now there's consequences. Now, before there's no consequences for these people. They can do whatever the hell they want. They can lie, cheat, and steal from us, and nothing happens. But if we go back 150 years ago and start having public hangings and stuff at Gitmo, I think that right there alone is something that would wake people up and say, well, holy shit, I don't want to be caught doing that. I don't want to be executed. So just something that a lot of people are talking about. And I'm just going to go ahead and tell Jeff, if you want to call back in, go ahead. It's 620-317-1776. Anyone else that wants to call in, would love to have you. Tammy, your thoughts?
Well, I think that the Biden thing is very possible, because that is, even though it's the president, his family's involved, all the politicians are around him involved. So that's a possibility, him not being around, and him dying of natural causes, because with AI and everything else, it's very easy to do something like that. All of Congress and all these other people, that is hard pill for me to swallow as well, because remember, all these people have friends and family. They've got people they went to elementary school, high school with, numerous amounts of people around them. So if they were actually gone, how would all these people, like you said, zip it? that's just kind of a lot for my head to wrap around, I guess, as well. Biden, I see it seems like a little bit easier because of all the corruption that we've seen in the exposures through Doge and the money taken away and lining pockets. And it's all about money and power and all that. I'm not saying that it isn't happening or didn't happen, but you also have to ask yourself this: how does President Trump survive everything that he survived? Everybody said that he was friends with all these bad people and we'd go to war. Yet Biden was, that administration, very helpful, bend over backwards, gave them money, everything they wanted. And look at the shape we were in. They took advantage of it. So being friendly in the way Biden was, giving them everything and not showing strength and power, actually bit them in the butt. With Trump, he's going out there. Everybody was in chaos about the whole tariffs and he's going to get us in the World War III, blah blah blah.
I see it, producer. Jeff's on the line, so
okay, let him.
Well, go ahead, Tam. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say.
Finish your thought.
Well,
let's speed it up a little bit, Tammy.
How does? Oh, whatever. Yeah, I'm a woman. I speak more. No, I don't.
Jesus.
You speak a lot too. But he went out and he's made all these deals, these trade deals, and he's talking peace again with Zelensky and Putin. He's done these wonderful, amazing things. He's brought trillions of dollars back in the United States with these trade deals, and the media is mostly silent about it. They're still whining and complaining.
Because they don't give a shit, Tammy.
So that is what I want people to see, that you have to see how bad they really are. Yep. And I'll shut up now.
Right.
So Jeff, let's
go ahead and bring Jeff back on. The only reason why I don't let Jeff stay on with us is because he can't hear Tammy, and this shit cost me like 3 cents a minute. So I'm sitting here watching my balance trickle down, so that's why I asked Jeff to call back in, so we're not sitting here listening to Tammy ramble on for 15 minutes.
Well, I hope hopefully you're paying her enough to put up with your bashing.
Oh yeah, she does such a great job on headline hits. If it wasn't for Tammy doing the headline hits Monday through Thursday, heck, I wouldn't even know half of what's going on right now, because she just, between you and her, I'm constantly getting text messages and emails and phone calls of, did you hear this? Did you see that? Like it's overwhelming at times on how much stuff's going on. So Jeff B., back to Obama, back to Gitmo, which is one of our favorite topics that we've covered over the years for a lot of different reasons. And one of my most favorite is the military tribunals. I see comments in chat from Michelle C. and other people that these have already happened. I'd like to get your take on that, because, to that comment from Michelle, if Joe Biden's already been gone for a while, could it possibly be that other people have been gone for a while? But see, I'm still in the camp that there's no way that there's all these actors, all these people have already been dealt with, and it's just a bunch of actors. I can't believe it that far. That's too far for me. Now, have they taken plea deals and done other things and they're still around? I would probably believe that more than all actors. Right. So I'm going to go ahead and give the floor to you, Jeff.
Yeah, so I don't buy in. I think all of Congress knows what's going on just by, after the whole J6 incident with with the fencing, and now we know today what we didn't, that where the Gateway Pundit put out the article that top-level FBI and Secret Service stated J6, they knew it was going to happen, it was an operation. And that's publicly available for anybody to read. And when
Donald Trump did increase the National Guard to come in on that day.
Correct. And so it was, and when I asked the big chair about it, when the article came out, he said, yeah, but I couldn't tell you then. Oh, I said, I get that, but, everybody knew there was something. Just by looking at certain groups of people and what they were doing, you could tell they were tactical operators. But getting to Gitmo, You know,
we
with
pulled
Catherine,
that we pulled that out of the video. You pointed that out with some of the backpacks they were wearing. Remember that?
correct.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we were calling it
with
as
the
it was
material.
happening.
Mm-hmm. And we were called crazy, but that's okay. I'd rather be crazy. But you go back to Catherine Heritage when they were talking about shutting down Gitmo, and then Catherine Heritage, you know, she come out with, hey, they're building 5 new courthouses on Gitmo that can go from unclassified to top secret SCITK. And now, when I told you somebody had went down to Gitmo and there was a reason he went down, he wouldn't tell me why, and he seen something down there or someone down there that kind of threw him back.
Spooky.
Well, now it's starting to come out that there are 2 geriatric wards that have been put into the hospital. So they're expecting
Bedpans.
And this I heard from 2 contractors that I know that were in the Army, who worked in the medical battalions, who are now contractors that went down there and helped set this stuff up. So what elderly terrorist are we taking to Gitmo?
Yeah. Well, how about 2 drinks in, 2 scotches in? How about some of them old sons of bitches like Turtle Man, Mitch McConnell? You know, some elderly people. I'm just saying.
Well, and this goes back to when I tell, and I know it's tedious. A lot of it doesn't make any sense at the time.
Probably a lot of bedpans there too.
Right. Well, and look at the executive order. And I told people that, you know, presidents don't write executive orders that they're not planning on executing. You look at 13848, all these other EOs that we've talked about. Now, if you go read 14152, it authorizes Trump within the first 90 days of his presidency to invoke the Insurrection Act.
Yeah, we haven't talked about that yet.
I mean, you pull it up, he divides it into 3 people to investigate, to come back within 90 days, and if there's substantial evidence of a coup, then he can invoke the insurrection. And I think that's what...
Do you think that Dan Bongino's one of the 3?
No, it states in there who the 3 are.
Okay.
In the executive order, who was tasked with it. But, you know, you look at the Supreme Court decision of 7-2 to tell Trump he can't use the Aliens Act, right? But then they come back and they change their mind. So did somebody walk down next to Capitol Hill and say, hey, oh, by the way, SCOTUS, 14152, the president went ahead and did that. So basically right now you're null and void. And, you know, this goes back to, you know, future proves past. You can only connect so many dots before, you know, your conspiracies.
You run out of ink?
Right. I mean, it's really crazy. And I think I do think there have been some low-level tribunals that have happened. The flight data shows it, that there are planes that flew to that island that legally couldn't fly to that island because of the Bay of Pigs and the whole Cuban Missile Crisis.
I bet one of those planes was probably a cargo plane. Took a lot of bedpans down there.
Bedpans, geriatric beds. Oh, God. Now, and here's another curveball that I'll throw at you. There are 3 top-level federal law enforcement guys that have been in Honolulu for the last 3 days.
That sounds like a vacation.
These are, well, it does sound like a vacation. Now, trust me, Hawaii is a great place to visit. It sucks to live there. But for your top-tier law enforcement guys to be in Honolulu, and then Trump coming out with that Obama post, where do they say Obama's from? Hawaii.
Odd. Very odd. Well, Jeff, we're gonna wrap this up. Is there anything else that you want to talk about with the whole Obama, Gitmo tribunals before we close out tonight?
No, I think we pretty much covered that, but I'd like to know where Elon's at now.
Yeah, where is Elon?
That guy,
Where's Nancy
that
Pelosi?
They're where's Kamala?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know. You think Nancy's in Gitmo?
No, I think a lot of these people have taken plea deals. If I see what I think I see in Trump, always giving somebody a second chance. Now, if you start looking at SEC filings, a lot of their stuff has been taken from them because the SEC has to, the Securities and Exchange Commission, when stocks are sold or liquidated, you start seeing some of these top-level people, both in Hollywood and business and in politics, a lot of their holdings have been sold off and moved into a trust.
Well, Jeff, I'm going to say this tonight. I really appreciate the fact that you called in. We still got a couple of little bugs to work out here in the studio, but for the most part, everything sounds great, and just really appreciate your insight. I hope you have a wonderful evening, and I really hope that you enjoy that cigar, but I hope it didn't come from Bill Clinton. I hope it's not one of those Monica cigars.
Right. All righty, guys. You guys have a good evening.
You too. Thanks, Jeff.
All right.
Bye. Well, Tammy, thoughts?
I think that he's right, and it's so hard to keep my mouth shut so there's no echo. We have to get that fixed because I like talking. But anyhow,
is it echoing right now?
No.
Oh,
when there's a caller on. So just so you guys know, I'm not like muting it because I want to. It's because I have to. But in other words, the whole plea deal thing makes a lot more sense than a bunch of masks. And he's right. Trump does give people second chances. He likes to make a deal over, like I said, warring or just unaliving and all that crazy stuff. He is like a peacemaker. He wants everybody to live happy and peaceful and have prosperity. And I think that's pretty admirable. I do agree too with somebody had said in there, where is Elon and stuff? Elon is good. He's good. He's back working at his company. He was with Trump in the Middle East. He was really excited to meet the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. I did see that. He is working there. But that's a whole nother show that we should do down the road about Elon, because he's done some wonderful things, but there's some things that he works on the side, AI, Neuralink and all that we should talk about, because there's been a lot of movement with that stuff. And I think people should become aware of it. And I'm not in agreement with all of that. So that's what I have to say about that.
All right. Well, think about your final thought, because we're rolling in around about an hour and 40 minutes, and I got to get going. So
one sec before we lose it. Mary Paget, thank you so much. I just want you to know that
80s haircut.
That's what he tells me. LW said, nice 80s haircut, Tammy. So, Mary, I will appreciate your comment and ignore his. Carry on. Carry on there.
I just think it's been a great evening. Tammy, thank you so much for digging and doing the research and getting all these videos prepped for us and getting the show prepped for us. And thank you to our producers behind the scenes that are playing the videos and doing the intros for us and doing all the cool stuff, while Tammy and I can just focus on making fun of each other and having a good time. And thank you, Jeff, for calling in. I really hope that some of you listeners out there will be encouraged to just call in. And it's real simple. You'll just have to jump off of whatever platform you're on, call the number, and while you're in the waiting room, you'll hear us live, and you'll be part of the show. So you can call in and give us your your thoughts. Give us a comment on the topics that we cover. This is how we cut our teeth. We've been doing call-ins for damn near almost 5 years. One of the very first on YouTube that ever did a call-in show. I was told it was impossible, and I worked around it, and then that's how we became who we are, LWN Network. So would like to see more of you call in the future. Wow, just so much happening so fast. And remember, they said trickle, 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 garden hose, fire hose, Tammy. I don't even think we're to the fire hose yet. I think we're still kind of getting the garden hose.
I do too. It's on 3/4 open, right? So I think once it gets to 100%, then we go right to the fire hose. And each and every day, it is amazing for us to even try to keep up. But with the president and his administration, what they're digging through and what they're doing, it's just amazing to watch. And it's not about liking someone or not liking someone. It's showing us that things can be done. If we put energy and effort into it and we don't give up, we can make a difference. And no matter what we're facing. And I think that his administration is really showing us that now. Kash Patel has been wonderful as far as exposure and stuff as well. And Dan Bongino too. I'm impressed. When they said they've got 38,000 people to move through to try to figure out who's lying, who hid what, who's good, and all that, that's a monumental task. And our expectations are people to face justice. And I believe them when they say that we will see it. So I'm very optimistic.
That's your final thought, Tammy?
Yep.
Okay,
absolutely.
Here's what I want to say to all of you on YouTube, X, and Rumble watching this live tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. I mean, we have a ton of people on there watching. I can't even go look at the numbers. The numbers were great tonight. Do me a favor. If you enjoyed this content tonight and this type of material, hit that like button, hit that heart button. Help our algorithm, help other people find us. If you haven't considered subscribing to one of these channels and you do like rabbit holes and you like current events and everything that's going on and the headline hits that Tammy brings you Monday through Thursday, consider subscribing to one of those channels. And more importantly, if you really super enjoyed it and you love the chemistry that's here on the show and the call-in show, please share us out. Share us out. There's usually a share button there on the X. There's a share button there on YouTube and a share button on Rumble as well. Share that out to family, friends that might enjoy this type of content. Share us out on your Facebook platforms and any of your other platforms to help us grow. At one time, we were at the very top, one of the biggest podcasts on Podbean. And we've been on Amazon Music and Spotify and all those other platforms. So we're not quite back there yet. We're still working on it. We're working on these bugs. But that is my final thought for tonight. And what a great show. And thank you, as always, as being a co-host here, Tammy, and putting up with me pestering you about
your
bedpans.
Immaturity. Immaturity. Yeah, that's what it's really about, you guys. That's an inside joke that LW came up with. So we'll tell you that on the next show. I'm going to expose you, sir.
All right. Well, I'm going to give the producer a chance to just prep, get ready to play the outro, because sometimes I hit them a little too quick, and there's just a lot of buttons that we have to push here in the software. So sometimes it takes them a minute, and so I'm just giving them the warning there that we're getting ready to roll into the outro. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I know I don't really have a regular schedule. I'm trying to go Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is what I'm trying to do for my schedule. It doesn't always work out, but we are trying our best. But you can count on Tammy Monday through Thursday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Headline Hits. She's getting a lot of this information out before any of the lamestream media and even before Fox News and some of the other people. So if you guys want to be up to date before a lot of others, jump in there and watch her. 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on YouTube, X, and Rumble Monday through Thursday. So thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Many times I walk the road with no end in sight and question my life. Countless times I've sacrificed and lost my way. I've been down this road before. I've struggled with the pain when it pours. No one knows how I feel when I have to start again, and there's no one there to save me. Do you know how it feels when your world is gonna end, when I don't have a friend to stand with me? I'm gonna make a comeback. I'm gonna claw my way back to the top. I'm gonna get it all back. My comeback is right there inside. Yeah, I'm gonna make a comeback and rise up this time. And look into my soul and see a graveyard, a crossroads filled with despair and defeat. Look into my eyes and see the haters call my name. Look into my soul and see redemption on its way. The demand is high to risk it all and put it all on the line. I'm gonna take my shot and never stop. I'm gonna swallow my pride and put it all on the line and rise up this time. I'm gonna make a comeback. I'm gonna claw my way back to the top. I'm gonna get it all back. My comeback is right there inside. Yeah, I'm gonna make a comeback. I'm gonna claw my way back to the top. I'm gonna get it all back. My comeback is right there inside. Yeah. I'm gonna make a comeback. I'm gonna claw my way back to the top. I'm gonna get it all back. My comeback is right there inside. Yeah, I'm gonna come back.